Okay, so we are going to discuss chapters 6 and 7. I'm still in my pajamas. You guys basically dressed.
Basically, yeah. Jeff and Adam look like they're raring to go.
Well, yeah,
Basically.
he's at his office, and Adam's got his tie on and everything.
Yeah,
all right.
That's me.
Do you sleep in your tie, Adam?
So if it's silk, yes. If it's cotton, it gets a little warm on my chest, and it's not cool, but yeah.
All right. So 10x rule. So chapter 6. Assume control for everything. So he says, if you're not first, you're last. Don't be a little bitch.
That's what you taught me.
I did teach you that. A crybaby or whiner, victims don't typically attract success. I mean, there's one victim I can think of that does, but it's true. You know, I used to work selling cars, and that's when I was really working on my mindset so much and putting so much positive things into my mind. One of my coworkers who sat right kind of next to me, behind me, oh my gosh, he'd complain so much, just whining under his breath and like talking to himself about just being mad. And I'm just like, I had to say, like, I can't have that around me. Like, I cannot have you in my ear. You have got to stop. You know, you do something different. Go somewhere else and do it. I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, people. I used to work with somebody when I lived in the Keweenaw. I worked with somebody like that, and just always complaining. It's like, John, does anything good ever happen to you in your life? And he's just like, you know, he's like, oh, am I really? I'm like, yeah, man, you sound horrible. Like, fix your situation. I don't care about it. You know, like, oh my goodness.
Fix your situation. So people who succeed take big action. It is impossible to take big action if you don't take responsibility. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many people bought like 1 or 2 shares of something for it to like skyrocket and be like, oh, I should have bought 10 or I should have bought 100. Like, yeah, when you think small, you're going to end up with small results.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, you know, this is an interesting chapter that I kind of want to ruminate on a little bit, because I'm definitely not a victim type person, but I do have a belief problem, I think. So
as in yourself?
Belief in what's possible, and yeah. Thinking big enough or bigger. So yeah. So success is not something that happens to you. It's something that happens because of you and the actions you take. Right, Julie?
All this is, yeah.
50% of the population suffers from victim thinking. Those who give control over to another for their success or lack of will never be in control of their lives. What do you think of that?
Yeah, pretty powerful statement.
I tell people about my career. It was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I had a light bulb come on. I somehow replayed the conversations I had in my head over the last handful of years and realized that everything was blaming other people for my failure, or lack of success, rather. I mean, literally, like, I could hear myself saying, well, yeah, but, or they, or whatever. And, you know, you have to make a decision at some point. Stop. Just, it's on you, man. Fix it. And I honestly, like, within days, I felt like things just turned around, and frankly, they haven't stopped since
Wow.
then. So
one of the it's a small book. I mean, it'd be lucky if it was 30 pages, but it was called The Positive Dog. And one of my friends had given it to me, and it was very, I mean, it's got pictures so I can comprehend it. But the story is basically like, you have two dogs inside you. You have the negative dog and you have the positive dog. Whichever one you want to grow, you need to feed that dog is basically the concept. And it was really corny. It was said as like this dog was in a dog pound and not being adopted, so he was just negative, and the older dog was like trying to tell him, like, when you have a negative, like, it's okay to complain as long as you have solutions, but when you're feeling down, you immediately need to state 5 things you're grateful for and write. And I took it a step further and actually wrote those down and kept a journal, and it's just like, yeah, like, why am I so negative? Like, I've got 3 whole pages of stuff that I'm grateful for that, like, I don't even realize I have that in the moment because I'm focusing on the 1 or 2 negative things that I can probably change if I just suck it up and start taking action and changing what I'm doing. But yeah, it was like 30 pages of something that changed my life. It was like, holy cow. Like, I wasn't as bad as that one guy I talked about, but it was just enough to like, whoa, yeah, it's happiness and stuff like that's all internal. You just need to do it.
So this chapter is all about assuming control. And he says, assume control and increase responsibility by adopting the position that you make things happen, even those things that you have thought not to be under your control. So even if you think that you don't have control of certain things, take responsibility anyway. That's what I'm hearing there.
Yeah, and he kind of goes in, I'm not sure, he goes into that in the book about, like, if you get rear-ended, how's that your fault? Well, you could have left a little earlier. Or
you were involved. You were still involved. You're still a part of it. Yeah, that's, yeah. You draw or attract into your life the things and people you pay the most attention. So just like what you were talking about, Adam.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night. I got the word here. Reticular activator. Mm-hmm. Is part of our brain is tuned to situations that parallel our own. So pregnant women notice other pregnant women. When you buy a brand new red vehicle, I see all these red pickup trucks around just like mine. Yay. Like that kind of thing. It's like you just associate with things that are like you, and just kind of attract things.
Yes, like I have a off-white Tahoe, and I really want a white one. And believe me, I see every white one.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Wait, yours is off-white?
Off-white.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2014 Tahoe. It's off-white. I love it. We got it, used. It was a great deal. My husband, was like, this is a good deal. So we bought it, but
you want a bright white. You want
a white one. And they are everywhere. You know how many white ones they have?
Mm-hmm.
Every corner I turn, there's a white one.
That's funny. Yeah, the reticular activating system is it's your filter for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So so what's interesting about the reticular activating system is that if you are thinking about opportunity and calling opportunity into your life, then you're going to see opportunity where before, if you hadn't changed your thinking or your filter, you might have had opportunity, but you just didn't take it because you couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, okay. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. Okay. I have to go back because I have not finished my notes here. Hold, please.
Gee, I wonder if you ever worked in sales or customer service before. Hold, please.
I do that too. I text that when somebody wants to see a house or something. I'll go, let me check. Hold, please.
Right.
So a couple notes about assuming control. Things happen not by luck or happenstance. Approach every situation as acting, not being acted upon. It's a myth that success just happens. And if you're willing to take action at massive levels, assume control and take responsibility for every outcome, success will come. Yay. And then here's the thing. Once you truly start believing that nothing happens to me, it happens because of me, then you can start operating at 10x levels. So what do you guys have to say about all that?
Yeah, I like it. I like it, you know, and I mean, it's like Adam said, you start to hear and you start to notice when somebody is not thinking that way, and it kind of starts to annoy you. And sometimes you have to be around people like that, and but it's, you know, it's like, I mean, Adam, you actually said to that person what, you know, you confronted them and said, you know, what are you doing? Well, what happens when they're your parents? What do you say?
Right. I don't know. Same thing. Like if my dad is you know, getting into a place where he needs to be talked to, like, I don't care who you are. I'm not afraid of people. Like, I will, you know, somebody needs to get talked to, I will talk to them. I don't care. I'm not afraid of confrontation. I don't, you know, no. I don't care. It's just, yeah, that's my personality though. It's kind of interesting.
I think his, same thing, you know, taking responsibility, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's hinting back at making it an ethical issue, you know. It happened because of me. It's because I take responsibility, like the rear-ending thing. I think in the book he says, if I would have gotten out of bed right away when my alarm went off, and if I would have not picked up the newspaper while I was getting ready, and if I didn't complain to my wife on the way out the door, then I wouldn't have been in that particular spot at that moment to get rear-ended. If I was doing everything on the schedule that I promised myself I wouldn't have been there. So it is my responsibility, or, you know, or I am involved in what happens to me. Again, it's that victim mentality, but man, how many times is it easy to say, well, this day sucks. It's everything conspires against me right now. I don't know. I guess I'm saying this out loud to be a reminder to myself, like, man, just buck up and move on, you know?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times too, like you know, with the rear-ended scenario, it's so easy to just to have like anecdotal victimization where it's like yeah, like they didn't follow with enough distance, that's why that happened, you know. And like okay, yes, I was there at the time, so I'm 1% liable, whatever you want to say. But, you know, and it's like, and then you get to like the whole shifting blame thing and responsibility of blame. And it's like, well, yeah, I was there and I could have done certain things, but if they would have paid attention, you know, it's kind of going back and forth with that whole thing. And, you know, it's taking that responsibility on a very micro level is what's surprising, because I don't know of anybody that I know in person that actually does that to that level. And it's so different than what we are accustomed to as far as mentality and thinking goes, that when you hear it, you're just like, yeah, but, you know, and it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't work in my world. So, but, and I will say overall, like just, I watch his YouTube videos and stuff, and like, I'm very impressed with his appearance of transparency and ethics in everything that he does. A lot of these, gurus, we'll call them, they seem to have probably an unwarranted criticism or reputation from others that like, wow, that's just because they screw everybody over, that's how he got rich kind of thing. Like, I don't know, he seems pretty straight up to me, and that's a theme that I see throughout this book is like, I don't care how you do things, you're going to be legal and you're going to be ethical, and that's it. And that's how he seems to live his life and his business, and expects his followers to do the same, which I think is really nice.
And I think I appreciate the fact too that he points out that he has failed plenty of times. Mm-hmm. I probably not every video I've watched of his, but at least every other, of a 5-minute or longer video, or he mentions his own failures. And I've been to a lot of like Floyd Wickman, some real estate sales gurus who, are all shined and polished and sharp, but man, you never hear them being transparent enough to say that I tried this and I failed, and here's why. You just don't hear them talk about the failures. Everything's shiny, polished, rainbows.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like I actually shared something on my Instagram, and it was a quote from Harvey Specter from the show Suits, and it said, "Success is like pregnancy. Everybody congratulates you on the job you did, but nobody knows how many times you got effed to get to there." And that's true. Like, how many times did you fail before success? Because you need to just figure out what works, and it's like, that's like a very blunt way of saying it, but yeah, like you have to fail in order. Well, I say you have to figure out what doesn't work. Right. Failure to me is that something didn't work and you gave up and stopped trying. That to me is failure. But yeah, and he really laughs and jokes about himself, especially, I don't know if you ever heard his first investment story and stuff like that, of that single family home. I mean, he just, he's like, man, he's like, don't do this. Like, I learned this is,
Cardone's first.
Yeah. You ever hear that?
I haven't seen, I haven't followed him so much in the real estate end.
Oh yeah. Basically real quick, he bought this home for like $75,000, lied to the bank, said, oh yeah, I'm going to live in it, rented it out. He's like, I'm making like $60 profit a month. I'm like thinking I'm this huge real estate guru and stuff like that. And something with the renter moved out, he couldn't get a renter in there, and he freaked out and sold the house for a loss. And then it took a couple of years for him, and he's like, all right, I got to go back again. And then he went into a couple more houses and then got into small complexes and just stayed with multifamily from there. But he really talks about it, the first one. It's really funny going into detail, but that's kind of how he got his start and stuff. But
by screwing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to get messy before you can get.
Yeah.
So I don't have any more notes up on the thing, but I have Julie's notes here. She takes such meticulous notes, and we appreciate it. So he says, no matter where I go, there I am. We're both the problem and the solution. You have been endowed with the desire of greatness and are aware enough to know there are no shortages of success. Increase your responsibility level, assume control for everything that happens to you, and live by the slogan that nothing happens to you only because of you. Don't be a little bitch.
Mm-hmm. I made sure that I put that in my notes because
I like that.
We like
that.
Yep.
Chapter 7. All right. 4 degrees of action. There are no shortcuts to success. Disciplined, consistent, and persistent actions are more of a determining factor in creation of success than any other combination of things. So consistent and persistent actions are more of a determining factor. Okay. All right.
And those two are my hardest things. That's tough.
Consistency and persistence.
I'm self-aware, but like every day I struggle with that stuff, minute by minute.
Yeah.
I think that in the real estate world, I think that's the number one problem for even the top producers will tell you that the consistency is so hard to do. So hard to do.
It's hard to maintain that level of action that is needed for massive success. It just is.
But people do it.
But people do it.
Great success with it. So, yeah.
But people do it.
They're freaks.
I know.
They're just freaks.
All right. Understanding how to calculate and then take the right amount of actions is more important than your concept, idea, invention, or business plan. Most people fail because they are operating at the wrong degree of action. So here's degrees of action. Number 1, do nothing. Number 2, retreat. Number 3, take normal levels of action. And number 4 is take massive levels of action. The first degree of action is doing nothing. It's no longer taking action to move yourself forward in order to learn, achieve, or control some area. Regardless of what degree or action you operate in, they all require work in their own ways. And I've heard this before, like it takes just as much work to
do nothing,
fail than it does to succeed. And that's true, especially like emotionally and mentally. You're doing so much work with like guilt and self-loathing.
Right.
You know?
I was going to say that the work comes in the reaction more than being proactive. It comes on the back end as opposed to the front end, perhaps.
Gotcha. Yeah. People in this group will spend time and energy in justifying their situations. Those who do nothing in one area of their lives will find something that they love to do and spend time doing those things. So they will do something somewhere else. All right, where was I? Okay, something for which they will often take massive action, like they will take massive action binging a TV show. And like online poker, gaming, or biking, or watching movies, reading books, some area of their life will receive their full energy and attention. That is true.
That's like there's one real quick. There's one story he said about there's this guy he was coaching. And he was like, "Hey man, like I need to come up with like $10,000 in like a week, otherwise my business is gonna fail. Like we're done." And he's like, "What are you doing right now?" Or no, Grant said something. He's like, "Oh, you watching the game or whatever? Yeah, you didn't deserve that. You need to go." He's like, "Your business is on the edge. Like you need to go." He's like, "And I don't want you to go get $10,000 of business. I want you to go get $100,000 of business because you're short-sighted. You're worried about the end of the month in the next week. You need to maintain that. Go do that. Get up." And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's like, oh my God, and that's like I got into real estate because and made the choice again to be self-employed because like I want to be in control of how much money I make. And that's like the whole thing is like, hey, I want to make more money. We'll sell more houses. It's like that simple kind of mindset, but like that in and of itself is tough and stuff like that and takes time. But it's I gotta do stuff and
you have to go do stuff and get the business.
Right. And it's easy for me to get sidetracked and stuff, but I got so much going on, but I make it work.
I hear you.
I got to do what I got to do,
So the second degree of action are the retreaters. These are those who take action in reverse, probably in order to avoid negative experiences that they imagine will come as a result of taking action. Usually retreating is a result of being told to do so over and over again. So, don't touch that be careful, don't talk to him, get away from that. And retreat is action. So we're from our childhood, we're still.
Yeah, the parental stuff, yeah.
It's true. You know, my mom, she, even when I remember I bought my first house by myself when I was 33. And I remember I told her I was buying a house and she's like, you can't buy a house. Like, it was just, you know, she didn't mean to be that way, but she just was that way, you know. She didn't really understand what she was doing or how it was affecting me, but it you know, it kind of did, you know. Not at that time. Not when she didn't say it, by that time it wasn't affecting me, but from when I was a kid, you know, it did. Maybe okay. So anyway, where was I? Okay, it can be difficult to rebound from holding back all these years. Maybe why? Oh, I'm having Julie's own trouble when you can't read your own notes. I'm doing the same thing. Maybe this is why it's hard to try new things. Examples: the stock market sucks. I'm never investing. Retreat. Most marriages fail. I'm going to stay single. Retreat. The job market is terrible. No one's hiring. I'm filing for unemployment. Retreat. All of these things require some sort of action. So retreaters will spend a lot of time justifying why they're retreating. Anybody else want to say anything about retreating?
Don't judge me.
When I go back to those years that I was blaming everybody else, this is going to be an ironic statement, but part of that was because I'm blaming the people that told me I couldn't do it, or that, you know, it's hard to make a living in this business, and oh my gosh, why would you do that? You know, whatever, door knocking, that kind of stuff. I had plenty of noises around me telling me I just shouldn't do what is required to get the business, and I let them. But it's ironic, I guess, to blame somebody.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, they were telling you not to do it, and well, it's kind of like, you know, I don't know why people want to do that to other people. Like when I first became a teacher, a high school teacher, you know, I worked really hard because I work hard at most everything I do, but you know, it's to the point of obsession usually in the beginning because you're trying to figure stuff out, you know. So I remember staying late, working in my classroom, and this one teacher, my first year, she came by my classroom, like, and she was really, she came back, she crouched down, like she got on her, you know, she like kind of knelt down a little bit to talk to me at my desk. She's like, Sylvia, pretty soon you're going to be just as cynical as the rest of us. So you should really go home and rest now and have your own time because you don't need to be doing all this, you know, basically.
The storm is coming. The storm is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. Yeah. So but I don't know why, you know, why do you want to do that to somebody? But I understand, like, she was actually doing it out of, you know, care in a way, you know, but it just it's not good. I don't think it's good. All right. The third degree of action is the group of people that appear on the surface to be taking the necessary amounts of action to be normal. This level creates the middle class and is most dangerous because it's considered acceptable. So in other words, he's saying it's mediocre. They never do quite enough to create success. These people take normal degrees of action. It's those managers, executives, and the companies who blend in more than stand out. Average, by definition, assumes less than extraordinary. It is truly, to some degree or another, just an alternative description of retreat and no action.
My girlfriend and I had a conversation about this when I was at this point, And it was really hilarious. I really wish that we would have recorded that conversation. It was funny because, you know, she's like, I'm totally fine just maintaining and having a little extra kind of thing, you know, and I'm like, but like he's saying, you know, and like this doesn't relate to everybody, you know, not everybody's just about this, you know, but this is where I want to be, you know. So we were kind of talking about this, you know, and she's like, I'll tell you what, she's like, I'm okay with the middle class mentality. I can maintain for a basis for us. You just go do your 10X or whatever crap. And she's like, you just let me know when you can hire me as the accountant for your business, and I can work from home in my jammies. Okay?
I get it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay. It is only by moving from the third to the fourth degree of action that a person can turn an average existence into an exceptional life. So here's the fourth degree. Massive action. The most natural state of action there is. Kids are mostly in constant action. Massive action is the level of action that creates new problems. When you are taking massive action, you are not thinking in terms of how many hours you will work. When you start operating at the fourth degree of action, your mindset will shift, and so will your results. You have to approach each day like your life and future depend on your ability to take massive action.
These degrees are really interesting because I think a lot of other people that write on like this kind of a topic, they have more there. And he's basically saying, look, you either don't do anything, you do something, but it's the wrong direction, you maintain mediocrity, or you just blow everybody else out of the water. Like, you know, I think most people were like waiting for like the fifth thing so that you would like, you do normal stuff. And then you do a little bit more to where you're doing good, but you're still not at that level. And he's just like, no, man, you either maintain or you're out of the water. Like you're just, that was a shocking thing. I was really interested. I think I reviewed this chapter again on the audiobook when it played for me. And it was just really neat how his mindset was about these things and categorizing them.
He's an all or nothing guy.
Yeah.
Which I am too. And
I am to an extent, but sometimes it's in the wrong direction.
Right.
I like shiny objects. What can I say?
Got you. People don't know you or, oh wait, is this right? Oh, yes, okay. People don't know you or about your new product. The only way to burst through obscurity is by taking massive action. So with no money to advertise, Grant, I think you're talking about Grant because this is Julie's notes, spent all his energy on phone calls, traditional mail, email, cold calls, return calls, visits, and more calls. People called him many things: a workaholic, obsessive, greedy, never satisfied, driven, even manic, always by someone operating at less than the fourth degree of action. So people who are taking normal levels of action, like thought he, yeah. And that happens to me a lot because I don't do things normal. I don't take normal levels of action either. Never has anyone operating at massive action considered his excessive action to be a bad thing. It's true. Because successful people know firsthand what it takes to achieve this kind of success. If you don't create new problems, then you're not taking enough action. I can appreciate that because, you know, when I do take massive action, you know, and start getting things done, it does create new problems. And then I'm like,
yeah,
you know, I just want to go to bed.
Yep.
You know,
I absolutely believe wholeheartedly what he just said there. How people, people that recognize the massive action that you're doing, you know, they're doing it too, or like for me, Sylvia, I look at you and I'm like, you're like the goddess. I mean, I think you're amazing. and I
What's shaking your head?
Yeah, I do. I so appreciate, I know I don't even know how you function. You are so busy. But I think it's amazing, and I love it. I don't like look at it in a negative thing. I'm like, I want to be like that. That's what I look at you, Sylvia. I want to be like that. So
nice. Thank you. Well, I'll tell you, this week I'm tired. I'm basically taking a staycation because the last 6 weeks I have been working like 6 a.m. or earlier to 11 p.m. I'm like constant work, you guys, and like not stopping, not watching TV, not really even eating anything good for me, not taking a walk, just working, you know. And so this week I slowed way down, but I just needed it, you know. So, but I'll be back in business again. I'm back to my normal self Monday. But yeah, we still need a break once in a while. He never talks about vacations, but I think you need one. Okay. All right. Where was the last party actually? All right. Whoops. All right. The second you start hitting it big, you will start to be labeled by others when you start taking massive action. The other 3 levels will all be threatened by you. So the people don't take action, and the retreaters, and the normal levels of action people, they'll all be threatened. They will often make it seem wrong in order to make themselves right. And then Grant's last book, or one of his books, If You're Not First, You're Last, talks about making massive action a discipline that will break through obscurity, increase your value to the marketplace, and help you generate success in any area you elect. So, what else? Anything? That's all the notes.
Some heavy stuff right there.
Yeah, but I think it's worth like thinking about and ruminating on, because you know, sometimes, you know, all these things, especially being in sales, you know, these are all concepts you've heard and you know about and stuff. But it's like, if you don't take time, that's why I like the masterminds and talking about it and reviewing it, because if you don't take time to like get it in there, it's not going to be a default, you know, your default's going to go back to how you were before, you know? So you know, it's one thing that I know about myself. It's like, I have to raise my level of desire, actually, or belief. You have to raise it. Like, I have to raise my standard of living, everything, because I want to set new defaults for myself.
Right.
So that's why I appreciate being able to talk about it. So
yeah, and like with my girlfriend puts up with me so much, but a lot with how my brain works is I need to talk about things a lot, so that it's not so much that like I need to give myself validation by doing so, but just for whatever kind of Freudian reason, it just helps me to know that I know that I'm on the right track with things.
Yeah, well, you're
like,
processing it.
It's like it doesn't, because as you know, I'm very process oriented, but like it's not even that I need somebody to agree with what I'm, you know, like, oh yeah, I think you should do that, it sounds good, kind of thing. I just need to have some other human being to talk to and just listen, and just like, you know, even if and most of the time she's just like, okay, like if that's what you think you need to do, then you should do it, and I'm behind you. Like, even, you know, even that much. But sometimes we have an 8 o'clock rule when I'm with her, is I cannot talk about real estate after 8 p.m.
Okay.
Because my mind literally does not shut off until I'm asleep. You know, okay. So I'm just like, I'll randomly, it'll be like, you know, 11:14, and it'll be like, oh, hey, guess what? And she's like, you know what? I don't care. It's after 8 o'clock. Like, nope, no real estate.
That's so cute.
That is.
But I think too, like with like accountability and stuff, it's like it's hard because like being accountable, I think everybody's accountable to a point. And like earlier when we were talking about like being consistent is one of my biggest struggles. That is another thing too, you know, where like I know, and I've told this, I mean, this is like back from my teenage years when my mom told me something that like I already knew. It's like, I know what to do, just let me do it. But then that's usually where it stops, you know. It's just like, and you know, and I get side, and there's no consistency about something. And when I am consistent, I'm only consistent to a point. It's never 100% of what I want to do. And that's it, and it's so frustrating sometimes where like this week was like, okay, I'm really going to start hitting the listing market thing. And Monday started where I was helping. I met with a new agent. I was on the phone with another new agent, and I basically like all week I've been helping people with KV Core and with new agent stuff, just either trying to talk sense into them, trying to talk them off the ledge, trying to just give them ideas and things. And it's like, okay, well, next week is a new week, and we'll just do that. And
well, at least you're aware of that now, because yeah, you got to get that in check. Because I totally relate. I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your time for your own success is the most important thing when it comes to.
Yeah, and it's like I love helping people, and just because I'm kind of a giver that way. Like people helped me, I want to pay it forward and help other people, because I want to see everybody be happy and succeed at whatever they're doing. And if I can be a part of it, if I can help them do that, then that makes me feel good about myself. And I know,
and you do. You know, I get it, because you get something from it, because it does feel good, you know.
Right. And then it was kind of one of those things where when I met with the local agent in person for coffee on Monday, and I was telling her, she's like, you know, I'm doing this, you know, she's all about like networking with all these agents, you know. And I said a lot of what I'm going to say right now is hypocritical, because what we're doing right now is not earning us a paycheck. But I said, this is just a learning experience. So this is an you know, out of the box thing. But I said, how is meeting a different agent going to get you a client if they are all local agents? They're not going to refer you, because they're going to, you know, really, really stop and think, is this going to lead to a client at some, does this have a high probability of leading to a client at some point? Because I said, you have to make, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you have to make the decision about what direction you want to take your business. Do you want
to recruit?
What's that?
If she wants to recruit, she's doing the right thing.
Right. Yeah. But and she's not like, that's kind of like down the road thing. Because she wants to get, and then there's like a whole, you know, situation with mentorship and on training and all that stuff. But it was basically like, you know, in a lot of the big coaches.
Were you speaking to yourself though, Adam? I hope you were speaking to yourself when you were telling her.
No, I was telling her, and I even said, I'm like, this is very hypocritical too, right. Because not only because like we're doing this, which is not earning us money, but I said, like, I have this problem with myself too. I'm like, I chase rabbits all day long, and there's no money at the end of the hole.
What you gonna do about it, Adam?
I'm probably, after this, I'm gonna probably curl up in the corner and sing Kumbaya to myself.
So what should our homework be between now and next time? Who wants to challenge themselves to something? Does anybody want to challenge themselves to something? Jeff?
Bring back an example. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be a story of taking massive action, maybe in particular something that it might even be outlandish or out of your normal bounds.
Okay.
But do something, it doesn't even have to be business, but do something to work towards a goal you have, but do something massive.
Okay, I like it.
How's that?
I like it.
I'm writing this down right now, by the way.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna pick something in our area of our life that we want to take, that we need to take massive action, want to take massive, and do it. And then over the next week, and then share our results.
Yes.
Okay.
I like that one.
It sounds fabulous. Thank you, Jeff, for that. And we will end now. Thank you, Julie, for your awesome notes.
Yes, thank you
so much. And that's it. I'm excited to pick something to take massive action on.
Hey, this is a cool group, guys. I get so much more out of the book being able to talk about it and give examples. It's cool.
Me too. I get so much more out of it too. That's why I want to do it, because I can read all day and I get good stuff out of it. But if I can't talk about it, it doesn't get in here. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perspective is interesting too, because it's like, you look at an object and you're like, well, it's kind of brown. Well, you know what, Jeff thinks it's a little more tan, and you just little bit different stuff, and that you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. That's kind of neat. Okay, that didn't. You learn more by everybody else's perception rather than just, hey, this is what the author says.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you for sharing your perspectives.
See you guys next week.
All right.
Hey,